to me for some help. It's a big step, especially for such a young person. You're only 6 years old. Most people just wallow in their misery, thinking they can fix their problems on their own. But they can't. You need professional help, and I am a professional. Now, before we get started, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how I work and my training. I am a licensed paraprofessional personal shopper. I'm licensed in 4 planets through the Cloud County Board of Paraprofessional Personal Shoppers. I was trained at the Peabody Institute of Technology for Fashion and founded Essentially You in 1982 as a 403(c)(b)(3) for-profit corporation. Now, in order for me to outfit you with the perfect wardrobe for you, and by that I mean one that reflects your inner self on the outside, I need to get to know the real you, the one inside the plastic, your innermost thoughts, dreams, and delusions. So I'm going to attach these electrodes to the parts of your body that are most associated with color, vision, fear, and memory. The CB transmits to the projector. The projector has a chip that fact checks all of your memories before projecting them back onto the screen. That way I don't have to worry about whether or not you're lying. You can sit back and relax, and I'll be able to watch your every projection on the screen. See, your mom left me a note. Please attach this wireless earpiece that transmits from my heart to your ear because I lost my head and mouth in an accident. P.S. I am still alive. P.S.S. You must hit the button to hear my voice. Hello? It's good to finally hear your voice. Now I need to let you know that everything we say here is confidential, although I am videotaping this session for training purposes. The only exception is if I feel you may be a danger to yourself or others in your clothing choices, or if the court subpoenas the records. But that hasn't happened in 28 years. Do you understand this? Yes. What brought you here? Is this your first time? First time. Coming to a licensed paraprofessional personal shopper for help? Yes. So what's going on? No one in my family has taste, according to my mother. I was in a terrible accident while rehearsing for my kindergarten's production of Grease. They outfitted all of our big wheels to look like motorcycles. The teacher was a real believer in method acting and had us do exercises like Bad Babysitter that were supposed to build our character. I love Grease. Tell me more. Tell me more. He had the older kids shoot at us with dart guns while ridiculing our Mickey Mouse watches. We wore dolls on our chests for armor. I had a nervous breakdown and lost my head, and I haven't worn clothes since. My mom heard about Gary through a friend on the CB radio chat group, mothers of children who don't like to dress up every day. Gary couldn't help me, so they sent me to you. Gary that does glamour shots therapy out of motel rooms near Bannister Mall? Yes. I didn't realize he was in business anymore. He kept forgetting I didn't have a head and sprayed me all over with Aquanet. He couldn't stop talking about Marilyn Monroe. Said she had really bad skin.
He said it always makes people feel better to find out that beautiful people have secret flaws. He said I should feel lucky because I can't get acne on my face because I don't have a head. Gary had terrible acne as a teenager. His mother told him she had never been more disgusted by a fellow human being in her entire life. She said,
"Not only are you not good at picking out clothing and putting on accessories, but you're ugly. Why, oh why, of all people, did I have to have an ugly child?"
And he said, "Mom, you're wrong. Look how successful I am. I am so successful I can afford to lease a motel room every day to make people feel better about themselves."
Told me I see the rise, but it always falls. I see you come, I see you go. You say all things pass into the night, and I said, "Hold on, sir, I must say you're wrong. I must disagree, oh no, sir, I must say you're wrong. Won't you listen to me?" You told me I've seen it all before. I've been there, seen my hopes and dreams lying on the ground. I've seen the sky just begin to fall, and you say all things pass into the night, and I said, "Hold on, sir, I must say you're wrong. I must disagree, oh no, sir, I must say you're wrong. Won't you listen to me?" Goodbye, horses, I'm flying over you. Goodbye, horses, I'm flying, flying, flying over you.
Gary aged me 73 years for my photo, just like he said he would. The theory was that if I could see what I would look like when I was 79 years old, I would gain some perspective on the frivolity of my youth and utter meaninglessness of my existence, freeing me to show my true fashion sense. I told him it wasn't working, that I needed some other kind of help. He went and got me a cupcake. First, he pretended like he was going to eat it. Then he gave it to me and said, "Sometimes the best therapy is pretending like it's your birthday every day." My mom said I have to try one more thing before I'm allowed to give up on wearing clothes.
Well, you certainly came to the right place. I'm going to start by asking the questions I have to ask everybody. But please remember, I'm completely licensed and regulated by the Cloud County Board of Paraprofessional Personal Shoppers. So these questions are part of a well-researched assessment tool. They just help me get a sense of how your fashion's doing. I actually have to pay for each time I use the assessment tool, so I'm going to have to tack that onto your bill. And there's talk that the government might start using it as a personality test for all government employees. That's how good it is. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
Have you ever felt like your clothes were so loose and baggy that other people could notice? Or the opposite, so tight and stretched out that other people would notice?
Which one?
No problem. I'll repeat the question. I'm sorry, I'm just not used to working with people with disabilities.
No, how often for which one? Too loose or too tight?
Oh, sweetie, bless your heart. I can't just change the test because you can't understand the questions or have a disability or whatever. That would be plagiarism.
Well, do you want two separate numbers? One for when my clothes were too loose and one for when my clothes were too tight, or just add them together?
Just tell me about how often.
Well, there's the jumper I got from Chocolate Soup when the kids said, "It's picture day, not clown day." But I don't know if that would be too loose or too tight. More like too many ruffles. And then the time my sister and I trod on my mom's bras, too loose. And the time I got stuck on the bus for hours because the bus driver didn't recognize me in my red wig, 3.
Can you do me a favor? Next time, just the numbers. I can't enter all that other stuff into the computer. Have you ever felt like playing with dolls all day and not talking to anyone because you weren't making good fashion choices?
I'm naked, that's why I'm here.
Just yes or no.
Yes.
How many times per week? Once, twice, every second, you wish you weren't here?
3.
Good. Do you remember the time you dressed up like a unicorn for a date, only to find out your date invited another lover over at the exact same time?
Yes. Don't remind me.
That's all the questions for that test. You did great. I'm going to have to send it off to the corporate personal shopper headquarters in Joplin, Missouri to get the results. It should only take about 6 months. I want to go back to this issue of taste. You mentioned earlier that your mother felt no one in your family had any taste. Can you elaborate on that? What I mean is, what does good taste mean to you in terms of fashion?
Well, beyond classical pieces like cat sweatshirts and jeweled high heels, I think some people have it and some people don't.
Sounds like you're quite the old soul for being only 6 years old.
I'm mature for my age. Having no head has really given me a depth that some people never get to, even at the center of the earth.
Now we're going to move on to some breathing exercises. This exercise is called panic attack breathing. It was invented by Sir Edgar Alberton, the founding father of personal shopping. It's designed to stimulate the vogue in your muscle memories. All you do is breathe as hard and short and fast as you possibly can for 3 minutes, or until you feel like you're going to pass out. Now I want you to close your eyes and visualize your worst memory, and then dwell on it forever. Are you ready?
Can I stop? I feel lightheaded.
Sure. It's all about listening to your body after bringing yourself to the point of death and exhaustion. And it's not usually until that moment, when you've convinced yourself you're having a heart attack, that you really start to get in touch with what fabrics and colors work best for your skin tone and body type. Now, I usually don't share stories about myself, but because you're essentially a child version of me, I think I can let my level of professionalism slide down a few notches. It wasn't until I practiced the panic attack breathing exercises for several years that I developed essentially you. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I want you to think about something. Every time you choose to wear something, you're choosing not to wear something else.
What about layering?
You know, there's a principle called a dilly flopper, made up by someone that doesn't know anything. And it says, the way you dress in private is mathematically, geometrically related to the way you dress in public. Now I'm going to show you the diagram because I don't get to use my math skills often enough. Sometimes it helps to visualize it on a cake. Additionally, on the left is the way you perceive the way you dress. On the right is the way other people perceive the way you dress. And the center is the way you actually look. Can you fill in those circles for me?
Just make it up in my head.
Sure. No one's listening anyway. Now I need to ask you a question that may seem a little strange coming from a personal shopper. But please remember, fashion is about much more than flannels and fringe. I need to know if your parents have explained your origins to you.
Yeah, I'm 6, not 3. My parents are realists. They raised me on Leslie Nielsen movies. They were really young. My dad was 10 and my mom was 9. My mom pooped me out and put me in a jar in the closet to grow for 6 months. Even though they were young, they were very resourceful. When my mom found out she was knocked up in the 2nd grade, she got everybody around in recess at St. Elizabeth's for personal consultations to find out what she needed for the baby, like a more personalized baby registry. My aunt got her a breast pump.
I see, your parents went to Catholic school. No wonder they've had so much trouble nurturing your fashion sense when they had to wear uniforms for so long and stare at those nuns in those nasty habits.
Actually, there was only one nun. When you came in the classroom, she'd make you empty your pockets. And if you had a particularly embarrassing note, she'd read it out loud, laugh, and pin it to the bulletin board. Then there were 2 priests, Father D and Father C, good cop, bad cop. Father D was the laid-back hippie. He said as long as you meditate on pillows and light lots of candles, everything would be fine. Father C was the angry one. He said the problem with the younger post-Vatican II generation Was it pretending like you were pregnant and conning school children into buying baby blankets for headless mannequins? It was idolizing Madonna, praying for bigger breasts, and not feeling guilty about everything you ever wanted.
Did you feel guilty for wanting clothes?
Yes, and everything else.
No wonder you're such a wreck. How did this all start? The whole not being able to wear clothes thing.
I had a vivid dream. I'm getting ready for a performance. I'm to say words that I have memorized with a group of people. We're trying to find my leather pants and I can't find them anywhere, or any of my stuff. It's like I'm stuck in a Better Homes and Gardens interior decorating book, and the film crew has thrown all of my stuff away. Finally, crumpled up in the corner, I find a cat sweatshirt and jeweled high heels. I run out to join the others. It's a marching band. They're marching on the moon and they're all dressed in red. I don't even match. I look back down at the house I grew up in and there are film cameras everywhere. They're getting ready to film breaking news. That's when my house explodes and everything goes up in smoke. All that is left is a concrete foundation. I think about all my previous worries, what I was gonna wear, how I was gonna look, and I realize none of it really matters now, because in the end, all of my clothes will burn. That's when I look back up at the moon, and I see the band leader's face, and it's your face. It's been you the whole time. Now it's my turn. I want you to empty your pocket and pull out that note.
You can read it out loud if you want to.
I can't read this. It's just a picture. But it's certainly embarrassing enough to pin up. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What really happened to you?
I was 6 years old. I had a nervous breakdown after lightning struck the barn. I haven't been the same since. I'm nervous in storms. I'm nervous all the time. I don't even know who I am, or if I'm really a professional anymore. I was a doctor. I was a good doctor.
I know you were.
But it's not the same.
We were good doctors.
But it's not the same if I'm not allowed to practice anymore.
We can always practice here. We've just got to keep on practicing.
Should we meet here again next week?
Yes, in our kitchen or living room.
Right here.
Okay. Our time is up.
Thank you.